Hey, this is Soldier7 here, reporting for Right Wing Federation, and this video is going to be about a part of the U.S. elections that will occur later this November, and one of them regards the state of Minnesota, and this raises a question since it's been in the news a lot lately this year, as of right now, especially with reports about the fraud and whatnot. It raises a question, and that is, could Minnesota flip? I don't know, just something worth asking and something worth talking about. I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it won't. But I figured it's a question worth asking, especially if you live in Minnesota, because given all the reports of the fraud and everything, especially a lot, because it seems to have been, and some other things too, but yeah, it seems like recently this year, it's been in the news a lot this year, and it's been all over social media and so forth. And on top of that, a video was done to where the current Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, who ran for vice president, is not running another term. So yeah, it took a blogger to go investigate certain things that made him step down, and ever since then there's been more report cases about fraud and so forth and whatnot, and a part of me wonders is, could Minnesota flip this November for the U.S. elections of 2026? And if it flipped, like, how could it flip? I mean, does that mean it's going to go red? Or if it does, we're just saying, that means could it go red? Or could it just put itself in a position where it's purple? Or what? Or could it just go blue on some things and just go red on blue state? The last time it did vote Republican in a gubernatorial election was in 2006, which was, what, almost 20 years ago. But yeah, just given a lot of the stuff that's been reported that's occurred recently in Minnesota, and it's been talked about a lot this year, more than previous years, a part of me just wonders is, could Minnesota flip? Even if, if you're not the typical conservative or whatnot, but it just seems like most of the fraud and corruption and so forth and tends to come from the blue parts of Minnesota, which, yeah, for the most part, it's been a blue state. And aside from the gubernatorial election I talked about in 2006, but like I said, that was almost 20 years ago. But a part of me wonders is, could we see a flip just given all this corruption? Like, even people who aren't conservative, who aren't Republican or whatnot, could they just be willing to make an exception and just say, well, what do we got to lose? Maybe we should give the other side a chance, the other side the benefit of the doubt. Or maybe we'll just go 50-50 and so forth. I don't know. But yeah, after thinking about it, I figured it was something worth talking about. And even if it does flip, does that mean it's going to flip in 28? Like, even if it goes red this year, does that mean it's going to go red in 28? And we're just talking about if. I mean, it didn't go red during the presidential elections, not since 1972, when the last person to win Minnesota, the last Republican to win Minnesota in a presidential election was Richard Nixon in 1972. Ever since then, Minnesota has only gone Republican in some gubernatorial elections and so forth. But either way, I thought it was something worth talking about, and yeah, and if by any chance you are a resident of Minnesota, what do you think? Please do tell. The comments are open. So yeah, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit more, and that is, If Arizona does flip, like I said, it does raise some questions. If it does flip, will it flip entirely, or could it flip to a certain extent? And like I said, I'm not saying it will, but I figure given all the shenanigans over this last year so far, and maybe even some of the years before, I can't help to think that, some people in Minnesota, like even people who vote Democrat or people who are saying that's going on in Minnesota and say, yeah, this is maybe a little too much. Maybe we should give the other side the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we should give them a chance. And if we're not happy, then come 2030, we can vote them out or so forth. I don't know. It's just more about that. And like I said, I'm not putting my praise into parties. Just because the name of this channel is called Right Wing Federation doesn't mean it's praising the Republican Party. But yeah, I just thought I should also think I should remind I'm also doing this video because I haven't done a whole lot of videos regarding the U.S. elections that occurred this year, especially in November, and I just want to remind that, yeah, it could be equally important, even if it doesn't get as much attention as the U.S. presidential elections. But, yeah, even if it does flip, how could it flip? Could it flip? Could it get to a point to where it could potentially flip red and maybe maintain that way? Or just temporarily? Or could it just flip to where maybe it's a purple state, to where it's like here, a little blue there, and so forth? I don't know. But yeah, that's all I just wanted to talk about is, could Arizona flip for this year's elections? The gubernatorial elections, the congressional elections, the senatorial elections, and whatever state elections that they may have this year or not, I don't know. And local elections. But yeah, if you're a resident of Minnesota, yeah, please do tell. And that's it. The comments are opened. And yeah, that's just a question. Could Minnesota flip? I don't know. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. The comments are open. That's all I'm going to say. This is Soldier 7. Thanks for listening.